So I think you know I am not Stuart Yaffa, but Stu had a flight change and had to leave early, so I'm going to do his presentation, and then I'm going to call these fine people up to do their parts. So you have my slides up here? Okay, good. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of our programs. You've probably heard a little about some of these this weekend. So Family Conference, as you know, is one of our key programs for both education and family support. We're so excited to have you here with us for the first time in Chicago. We hope you will give us your feedback through the evaluation so we can continuously improve, and we hope to see you back in Chicago next summer. Really, the core of everything we do is the helpline. How many people have contacted the helpline at some point, phone or email? It's so great to get here and be able to put faces with the voices that we've heard over the phone. We get about 1,000+ contacts per year, and our colleague Amy Druitt is unfortunately not here. She had a successful knee surgery last week, but she handles a lot of those calls as well. And that allows us to route people to programs and services and resources. Next step after helpline tends to be support groups. And as you probably know, we have groups for Eastern and Western time zone, for current caregivers, for genetic families. And we do bereavement series and other programs. One of our most popular programs is the Dr. Appleby Show, where we put him on a Zoom link and people just pile the questions into the chat and he just answers all of them. It's great. For us, not as much for him. If you ever have suggestions for speakers, topics you'd like to hear through webinars, we'd love to hear that as well. So last year, 44 different sessions of support groups and programs. Our website is for the late night readers. People often are worried or have questions, and when they're caregiving, it's often at night that, they just are looking at our website for data and resources. All of the recorded sessions from this weekend will be up on that website. And it's a good resource for professionals as well. Okay, I think you've heard this story before. Advocacy is a really, really vital program for us, especially right now in this year. We're just so grateful that we have Akron as our pro bono advisors. Let's see, what else? I guess just, we do work all year on this. We follow all the rules that Capitol Hill puts out. We submit forms when they tell us to submit forms. We make calls when they tell us to make calls. We just try to keep the awareness out there. So to participate in advocacy, I think you heard this last night, you can sign up at the registration table. You can send us an email and just say that you want to be on our email list. If you can learn the right contact person in your Senate and representatives' offices, that's very helpful. When you get our email template, just copy and paste, add the email, add your story, and send. How many people in here have sent emails this year? How many people have recruited someone else in their family or community to send emails? Great job, thank you. Building a relationship over time with those people, or learning when the person you met has left and there's a new contact, is so important, just keeping that continuity. I think we awarded a bunch of grants this year. There were 7. I'm sorry, Alyssa's eyes are hidden there. We awarded 7 grants and 2 fellowships this year. And again, close to $6 million in the history of our program, and we're just very pleased with how that's progressing. I mentioned this to you last night, the scientific conference that we hosted, which was just a great think tank, and I think some great outcomes came from it. You can see the people collaborating around the poster session. There were lots and lots of panels and presentations. It was a great event. Medical education, this is in the court of my colleague Lori, to just try to schedule grand rounds lectures, as many as possible every year. This gives us a chance to make sure doctors are aware of the Prion Center, diagnostics, everything there is to know about the field. Strides for CJD. How many times have we mentioned that? 10 or 20, but it's such an important and vital program for us. And you're going to hear more about it in a minute from Lori and Matt. Charity Navigator ranks and rates nonprofit organizations like ours in areas like financial transparency. And we're pleased to say that for the 6th consecutive year, we have a top rating, 4 stars. And that is thanks in part to your continuous financial support and to the due diligence of our board and finance committee who keep us in shipshape. It's helpful if a significant investor is trying to research us and see if we're worthy of financial support. So now I'd like to introduce Jacob Schwister, Finance Committee member, to provide the financial report.
All right. Good morning, everyone. As Debbie mentioned, I'm Jacob Schwister, local here to Chicago, Illinois, member of the Finance Committee and Board of Directors. Just here briefly to share a couple points really on the financial results for 2024, focusing on revenues and expenses, really some of the key pillars of the foundation's ability to deliver on its mission. Okay, so starting with revenues. So 2024 total revenues were about $3.1 million, and they were derived from 4 primary sources, the first being contributions, the largest revenue stream, which includes general gifts, the spring appeal, and annual fund drive. The second is fundraising and special events, which include Strides for CJD and family fundraisers, together raising about $743,000 and really reflecting the commitment and creativity of families across the country. The third is the memorial research grants, totaling about $555,000. Just wanted to say a special thank you to the generosity of those honoring their loved ones. And then lastly, other revenue, which includes donated services and items. So a really great financial picture from a revenue standpoint, and certainly just wanted to note, very grateful for the families, the donors, and the partners who have really continued to support the foundation's cause. Okay, turning to expenses. 2024 total expenses were about $2.4 million and directed across 4 core program areas. The first, research grants and programs, which we heard from yesterday. The second is advocacy, which Debbie just noted. The third is family services. And lastly, medical education programs. I'm proud to share that 88 cents of every dollar spent went directly to these mission-aligned programs, proof that your support is creating meaningful and measurable impact. In short, the foundation's financial resources are being used where they certainly matter most, which is serving families and advancing science. Just wanted to say thank you for your continued trust, generosity, and engagement. Together, we are certainly making a difference for everyone that's affected by CJD. Thank you.
I want to really thank Jacob for his work over the last year or so. He is a investment professional and has been serving on our finance committee. He helped us select our new auditors, which was a big project, and has just been really, really helpful. So, Jacob, you weren't here for dinner last night, but we have a little thank you award for you. Hold on, photo op. And now Lori and Matt are going to talk to you about Strides.
So I'm just going to give a quick overview of what's happening with Strides so far for Strides 2025. So Strides is scheduled for the first 2 weekends in October. This year, we have 16 locations already scheduled around the country, and planning has already started. In fact, here's what we have so far. We've raised $26,228. We have 183 registrants, and we currently have 55 teams created. So normally, and we've already started. So we end Strides in October, and our first meeting for the following year, we already had in November. So we start, and we have meetings all year round for Strides. Matt's here to tell a little bit about, he's the captain of the Akron team, and he's going to talk a little bit about Strides Akron.
Thanks, Lori. Yes, after my wife passed in 2018, early 2019, I'm fortunate because I live 30 minutes from the foundation's office, main office in Akron. I went there thinking, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Thinking how much money some of these organizations waste, in my opinion, this or that. I went there. They had, I believe, just moved in or were remodeling. My dentist office is bigger than their offices. What these folks do...
It's what we always look like in that office.
What these folks do with the amount of people they have is just tremendous. Can't thank them enough. But to Strides. Lori got me involved in Strides. We went to our first Strides in 2019. She didn't realize how big of a family my wife came from, of 10. I have 7. I have cousins, nieces, nephews. Unbelievable. We went from 121 participants in 2018 to 312. My first year as being captain, after Lori said, hey, you know, you got a lot of family, this or that. Would you mind getting involved? She didn't say taking over. She said getting involved. But yeah, we keep it in about the 330 numbers every year. My wife was a popular person in our little town that we live in, and she was well loved by everybody. But I want to thank the Strides captains that are here for the other cities, because without you guys on the Zoom meetings and everything else that we do, that's where I get my ideas. And we people put a lot of work and effort into this. So support Strides, get online, create a team. And, you know, it's not always about the money. It's about the camaraderie of that day. It's just like this weekend. And that's how it is for the 16, now 17 families that are going to be together in Akron. So please help out. Thank you. This has been a great weekend. The CJD Foundation does tremendous things. Tremendous things. Debbie, Lori, and your staff, fantastic. Thank you.
Before I let these fine people go, do you have any questions, financial, content, otherwise? No? Okay. Thank you all so much. And I'm going to call Joel Watts to the stage.